Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to this webinar about PG&E's Community Wildfire Safety Program. My name is Liz Stout, and I am the Program Manager for PG&E's Public Safety Power Shutoff Program team. I will be moderating this webinar this evening. I am a middle-aged white woman with long, dark brown hair, and I am wearing a white polo shirt with a PG&E logo on it. This evening, we're here to share information about what we are doing to reduce wildfire risk and make our systems safer. To start, you can participate in this webinar with American Sign Language by clicking the link that was just provided in the chat. If you would like to get this information in a language other than English, we have been hosting in-language presentations. You can visit pge.com/webinars for a schedule of these. To view real-time closed captions in English, Spanish, or Chinese, please click the CC closed caption button on the bottom right corner of your screen. You can change the language by clicking settings and adjusting the captions and subtitles language. For our presentation today, we want to make sure that you have an opportunity to ask questions and to give feedback. Our presentation will be approximately 30 minutes plus time for Q&A. If you would like to ask questions, please send it at any time in the chat. If for some reason we can't get to your question today, please feel free to reach us at wildfiresafety@pge.com and we will respond promptly. We will also be recording today's presentation and we'll post it on our website at pge.com/webinars. We will start this webinar as we start all of our meetings here at PG&E with a quick safety moment. We want to share tips to help you get ready for help you get ready and stay safe for this wildfire season. We encourage everyone to prepare for natural disasters or emergencies. You can build a disaster supply kit for you and your family or your business, and make sure that you include food, water, medication, flashlights, first aid kits, and a list of emergency contacts to keep you safe. For more information on how to prepare for an emergency, visit safetyactioncenter.pge.com. Now that we're off to a safe start, let's discuss the agenda. So joining me this evening is Tom Smith. He is a Senior Manager for PG&E's Customer Emergency Planning and Operations team. Today, we're going to talk about how to identify and reduce wildfire risk. We're also going to have an overview of safety outages and how to keep our communities safer. And then finally, we're going to talk about available resources for our customers. With that, I am going to hand it off to Tom Smith to discuss the work we are doing to prevent wildfires in your community.
Oh, thank you so much, Liz. Again, as she mentioned, my name is Tom Smith. I'm the Senior Manager for PG&E's Customer Emergency Planning and Operations team. And I'm a middle-aged white man who is bald, and I'm wearing a green shirt. Since we've launched our Community Wildfire Safety Program, we've reduced wildfire safety risk from our equipment and all of our facilities. We've really accomplished this through a combination of ongoing safety programs, long-term improvements, and new situational awareness tools. These tools work together to provide our customers with multiple layers of protection. So as you can see here, things build on each other to ensure the safety. To understand where we need to focus our efforts, we first identify where the wildfire risk is the greatest. These high fire area risk maps show where our risk exists in our service area or service territory, excuse me. This helps inform where we target our wildfire work. And to help us better understand and respond to risk, we built and installed our own network of high-definition cameras and weather stations. In 2022, we reached our goal of installing 600 total high-definition cameras installed, and that allows us to see more than 90% of the high fire risk areas that we serve. We have also completed a comprehensive network of advanced weather stations, which gives us real-time information. You can see a map of the cameras and stations across your community by visiting pge.com/weather. Now let's go ahead and talk about trees. They're, of course, a big source of wildfire risk due to just how many there are across our very wooded service territory. And every year we inspect vegetation on about 100,000 miles of power lines. We prune or cut down more than 1 million trees that present a hazard. And we do more pruning where we've had a high volume of vegetation-caused outages. Together, this work reduces wildfire risk and improves the overall reliability for our customers. If any safety work is planned on your property, you can always expect an advance notification from us through phone or email. And for more information on our vegetation management work, you can always visit pge.com/trees. Now let's talk about how we're strengthening our grid by strengthening poles, installing stronger covered power lines, and we call this overhead system hardening. Over the past 5 years, we've completed overhead system hardening work totaling over 1,000 miles in our service area, and we're currently working towards an additional 185 miles of system hardening work this year. This work will occur over this year, as I mentioned, but we're not going to stop there. We're going to continue to do this work over the next several years to help prevent wildfires and significantly improve reliability during the winter weather. Now, if you've watched any TV most recently, you've probably seen our commercials talking about our undergrounding plan from Patty, our CEO. We're committed to undergrounding 10,000 miles of power lines in areas with the highest fire risk because it's the best long-term solution for keeping customers and communities safe. Moving overhead power lines underground reduces ignition risk by approximately 99% in that location. Also, undergrounding limits future safety power outages. It improves overall reliability in storms, and then decreases the need for that tree work I mentioned earlier. Undergrounding also helps lower ongoing maintenance and vegetation management costs. Over the past 2 years, we've completed 268 miles of undergrounding across our service territory, and we're working towards the additional undergrounding projects totaling over 800 miles over the next additional 2 years. Expanding our electric system underground will not only strengthen the system and help reduce wildfires, it will also help to prevent outages. But I'll just mention that, of course, work plans can change. Undergrounding power lines is very complex and takes time because some of these items definitely have a long lead time when it comes to the planning and implementation of things and working with local communities. But of course, we'll continue to share updated details related to undergrounding work in the future. But you can always go to pge.com/undergrounding to get maps and county specific information on our undergrounding plans. So now let's talk about potential wildfire safety outages and important updates for this summer and the upcoming peak fire season. In 2021, we added more sensitive safety settings on power lines that automatically turn off the power within 1/10 of a second to help stop wildfires before they start. This is called Enhanced Power Line Safety Settings, or EPSS for short. Because of that success in 2022, we made the decision to expand these settings to every customer who lives in a high fire risk area. These settings are proven to help stop wildfires. Last year, there was a 68% reduction in ignitions and a 99% reduction in ignition impact, meaning that nearly all fires that started were smaller and impacted less ground area, despite the very dry conditions we saw last summer and fall. If the power is turned off, we of course have to check the line for damage. So you'll see our crews out in your neighborhoods, in trucks, using, by air and on ground when it requires. So of course, this makes the system safer, but it could mean unplanned power outages. And so after there's any outage on an EPSS protected line, we try and identify those outage causes, find the tree that maybe shed a branch that hit the line, find any nesting animal activity or any other animals that may be in the area, or looking at potential causes from our equipment. And so we try and identify that outage cause before we repair the damage and restore the power to help us eliminate that source of outage in the future. So now let's talk about public safety power shutoffs. High winds can cause tree branches and debris to hit electric lines, damage our equipment, and potentially lead to a wind-driven wildfire. This is why we may need to turn off the power during severe weather to help prevent wildfires. This is called a public safety power shutoff, or PSPS. We use this tool when we expect the weather to be so severe that people's safety, lives, homes, and businesses may be in danger of wildfires. Of course, every wildfire season is different. We, of course, received a lot of rain and snow over the past 3 months, or the past, winter storm season. But we know the dry conditions coming up in the late summer and fall are still definitely a significant risk. So actual real-time conditions this fall, as we get to that peak season where we get the offshore winds and those very dry conditions, to make the final determination if we need to shut off the power to ensure safety. So of course, these programs both have shared, similar letters. They sound the same, and they look very much the same from probably just a quick glance. But I really want to talk about the similarities and differences between these programs because it can really be confusing. So I'm going to highlight a few key differences here. So every day we look at wildfire risk and we decide what we need to do to protect customers. Our EPSS system, the Enhanced Powerline Safety Settings, reduces the risk from a fuel-driven wildfire. And so we activate EPSS when we have a combination of dry fuel and low humidity. So like we're seeing right now, high temperatures, low humidity, and we have a lot of fuel that grew during that atmospheric river time. The Public Safety Power Shutoff program, though, reduces the risk of a wind-driven wildfire. So we use the Public Safety Power Shutoff when we have all the same conditions. We have dry conditions, lots of fuel, low humidity, but then we also have a forecast of high winds, a red flag warning declared by the National Weather Service, and then real-time observations from our weather stations and our monitoring systems, as well as observations from our crews. So because of that forecasting ability that we have on Public Safety Power Shutoff, we can inform you in advance because of that. But we cannot inform you in advance of an EPSS outage because of that hazard that hits the line unplanned, right? It's an automatic thing that happens. So for any type of outage, we will inform you as soon as possible and give you regular updates. For the information on the status of any outage and the entire restoration process, you can always go to pge.com/outages. Now I'm going to turn it back over to Liz, who's going to talk a little bit more about resources available in your community. Take it away, Liz.
All right, thank you, Tom. Now we're going to talk about resources to keep you safe. As you've seen already this year through a historic series of winter storms, earthquakes, floods, and more, emergencies can happen at any time. We want you to know that the resources we'll cover next are available to support you during all kinds of emergencies, not just during wildfire season. I'd like to start off with the Medical Baseline Program. It is an assistance program for customers who need energy for certain medical conditions. The program includes two different kinds of help. First, it provides an additional monthly allotment of energy or a discount based on your rate. You may receive gas or electricity at a lower rate each month to support qualifying medical equipment. Second, it provides extra notification for a public safety power shutoff, including live phone calls and doorbell rings. Customers will be considered based on medical conditions or needs and not income. To qualify, a full-time resident in your home must have a medical condition and or require use of a medical device to treat ongoing medical conditions. Some examples of qualifying medical conditions include sleep apnea, respirators, or special heating and cooling needs. For a complete list of qualifying medical conditions and devices, please visit pge.com/medical baseline or call 1-800-743-5000. Please note, at your 1-year anniversary on the medical baseline program, you will need to recertify. Additionally, you may also self-certify for vulnerable customer status by visiting pge.com/VC status. This status is for customers who do not qualify for medical baseline program, but have a member of their household with a serious condition that could become life-threatening if your service is disconnected. These customers will also receive extra public safety power shutoff notification, including doorbell rings, if notifications are not acknowledged. To learn more about this program, again, you can visit pge.com/VC status. And just to reiterate again, both medical baseline and vulnerable customer status include notifications prior to public safety power shutoffs. We notify those customers via phone, cell, text, or email. If we don't receive a confirmation of a response to those notifications, we will make additional attempts by ringing the doorbell or leaving a door hanger at the door. Next, we're going to talk about community resource centers. During a public safety power shutoff, we open local community resource centers where you can access resources. These centers provide a safe location to meet basic power needs like charging medical equipment and electronic devices. These centers will also have up-to-date information about the public safety power shutoff. They'll provide water, snacks, and other essential items. You can find a community resource center near you during a public safety power shutoff by visiting pge.com/CRC. So food loss is also a challenge for customers during a public safety power shutoff. Customers can find a combination of perishable and non-perishable foods to support their families at participating food banks. Food banks will provide food replacement packages up until 3 days after restoration from the outage. Some food banks offer food replacement packages to income qualified customers only, while others do not have an income restriction. Please check with your local food bank where necessary. In addition to food replacement partnerships, we are also working with Meals on Wheels to provide an additional meal for seniors impacted by a public safety power shutoff. To learn more about food support offered by PG&E, visit pge.com/disability and aging. On this slide, you can see a list of our food bank partners throughout our service territory. As a reminder, we will be posting this presentation online in the coming days, and you will be able to see this map and other resources by visiting pge.com/webinars. Here on the Meals on Wheels locations, we partner with to provide, here are the Meals on Wheels locations we partner with to provide resources for our customers. Again, these will also be posted when we post this webinar on pge.com/webinars. So disability disaster access and resources. We are working with the California Foundation for Independent Living Centers and 16 participating disability disaster access and resource centers to provide support during and before and during public safety power shutoffs. These include hotel stays, food stipends, and transportation as needed for eligible customers who may be electric dependent. If you or another member of your household depend on electricity for medical needs, please reach out to your local disability disaster access and resource center prior to the public safety power shutoff for assistance. And here is a map of all of the disability disaster access resource centers that may be open in your area if there is a public safety power shutoff. We provide portable batteries to customers and refrigeration for medication as part of the portable battery program and the Disability Disaster Access and Resources, or the DDAR program. Since we started the program in 2020, PG&E has distributed more than 18,000 portable batteries to eligible customers through these two programs. For 2023, we have also expanded eligibility for the portable battery program to include medical baseline and self-ID'd vulnerable customers with assistive technology or durable medical equipment who have also experienced at least one public safety power shutoff in 2021 or 5 or more outages on an EPSS protected circuit in 2022. You can visit pge.com/portable battery for more information on eligibility requirements. Similar to the previous slides, here you will see the portable battery providers throughout our service territory. And then here we have several programs which we can which will help you find out how to get more information for backup power during an outage. The first program is our generator and battery rebate program. This program offers a $300 rebate to help offset your costs in purchasing a qualified portable battery or a portable generator. To be eligible, you must be either located in a Tier 2 or 3 high fire threat district or served by an EPSS circuit. Our next program was started last year. PG&E developed the Backup Power Transfer Meter program to make it easier for customers to use backup power during emergency outages. These meters provide a safe and convenient way to connect portable generator power to your home in just a few minutes. This program is free to customers with compatible generators. For more information, please visit pge.com/transfer meter. The Self-Generation Incentive Program offers rebates to save on energy storage systems in your home and business. Whether an outage is planned or unplanned, a battery would allow you to have backup power for your home and business. If you're interested in more information, please visit pge.com/SGIP. And then finally, the Fixed Power Solution Program is a targeted program specific to available to only specific customers, which offers permanent, long-term backup power solutions for the most impacted customers. Learn more by visiting pge.com/residential storage initiative. 211 partnerships. So PG&E is partnering with 211, which is a free confidential calling and texting service to provide customers with support and resources during periods of critical need. This will help give customers, especially those with access and functional needs, a single source of information during public safety power shutoffs and connection to available resources in their communities. Services are available 24/7 throughout the year to help customers before and during an emergency. You can learn more about the services at 211.org. Okay, so here we have some additional customer resources for you. This information, so if you need information about wildfire safety efforts, it can be found at pge.com/wildfire safety or by going directly to any of the other pages shown here. To help you prepare for an emergency, you can visit PG&E's Safety Action Center for resources, tips, and videos to help you stay safe. An emergency can happen at any time. We recommend preparing in advance by making sure PG&E has your contact information to reach you, planning your family's medical needs, checking your emergency kit, charging your everyday devices, and conducting a safety check for any backup power generators. Our Report It Safety app is a great tool you can use to report and submit photos of non-emergency safety concerns directly to us. PG&E will review all submissions to the Report It app. In the event of an emergency, though, please call 911. We will now transition to the Q&A portion of today's event. You can ask questions by submitting in the Q&A box via chat. We will do our best to answer all the questions that have come in. If we are not able to get to your question today, please reach out to our dedicated email address for the program, which is wildfiresafety@pge.com, and we will respond promptly. While you are getting your questions submitted now, as a friendly reminder, in a few days, we will have this presentation posted to the PG&E website at pge.com/webinars. With that, we will get started. So, I noticed that, Tom, we got several questions regarding our undergrounding program and how we are choosing which locations go first and how are we prioritizing those locations. Can you tell us a little bit more about how PG&E is making those decisions?
Yeah, great question. And every time we have one of these webinars, this is usually question number one, because I know a lot of people are very excited about our undergrounding programs, and we definitely are too. And so, great question. I'm glad it's out there. So we prioritize our wildfire safety work in the areas where we can have the greatest impact on reducing the wildfire risk for our customers. So nearly 1/3 of our overhead power lines are actually in high fire risk areas. So we're talking about somewhere in the neighborhood of 25,000 miles, all the way up to 33,000 miles, and even a little bit more if you count some of the shoulder areas. So there's a lot of overhead power line in high fire risk areas. And so 10,000 miles of undergrounding, it makes a really big dent, but it doesn't make a total dent, right? It doesn't cover the area. So we really have to use some sophisticated tools to help us figure out where can we have that greatest impact. So we have an advanced modeling system using TechnoSilva and some other platforms that models historic ignition and other factors. So where the fires have been in the past, where the vegetation is the densest, where the topography makes it difficult if there was a fire to fight that fire, right? If the line's going up the side of a ridge, or maybe in a very an area where there's no access roads or very limited. The age and condition of the electrical equipment, right? If it's a brand new line that's just been installed, is going to rank a lot lower for replacement than something that might be 50 or 60 years old, right? So we're looking at all those factors. Then we're also considering the probability of an ignition, what the fuels are in the neighborhood and the region, and then the consequences if a wildfire were to start in that specific location. So what is the ingress and egress possibilities of that community? Do they have only one road out down the mountain? Or, those are the areas that we're really wanting to help prioritize that work there to, potentially avoid that impact of a catastrophic wildfire. So we're also, of course, focusing on the evaluation of all these projects mitigating the maximum amount of risk and customers in the most efficient manner. So as you can hear from everything I've been talking about, it's a very complex sort of secret sauce that's being put together to come up with the prioritization list for the undergrounding areas. And so we're going to continue to utilize technology, and as more models come available, we're looking at some new things as well, which not only take into the account wildfire risk, but also looking at the risk of customers being de-energized due to a fire or any other wildfire event and how that impacts our risk modeling. And so we have outlined a lot of this detail in our 2023 wildfire mitigation plan. We submitted that to the California Office of Emergency Infrastructure. And so that is available on our website as well as there. So if you search 2023 WMP PG&E, you're going to find a link to that, and it gives you a lot more detail, the names of the modeling tools that we're using, et cetera. And so I think that really, the last thing I'll say on that, all of our plans from a county perspective are laid out on our website at pge.com/undergrounding. And there are maps that have, I believe, this year and potential projects for next year listed out on there. So I know that for some of you, you're looking, undergrounding is going to be fantastic and we're really excited about it. And you may be disappointed that we're not going to hit your community just yet, but rest assured, we're in year 2 of a 10-year program. And so normal years prior to this initiative, in a normal year, we would do somewhere between 10 to 20 miles total of undergrounding work. And that was a good year. And now we're doing hundreds of miles each year, scaling up to thousands. So you can be sure that we're taking all of this feedback. We're also getting feedback from community leaders as well. We're not just insular in this. We're taking feedback. We're taking feedback from customers and community leaders to really try and get a holistic view of everything and come up with the best plan to deploy these precious 10,000 miles in the place where they're going to make the most difference. So, and I know I got a question about Highway 26 up here. I know there's lines. I'm a North County resident myself. I drive that road. I know where those lines are. We do a lot of tree work out there, a lot of vegetation management to try and ensure that we're keeping those lines clear of trees and vegetation. But we're doing all we can to try and get as many undergrounding miles in the ground as quickly and safely as possible. Please be assured of that. So I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, Tom, I think you did, and you answered a little more. So thank you for filling in all those details. We did get another question about recertifying for medical baseline, which I think I can respond to. So the question is, why do we have to recertify every year? And, the medical baseline recertification program is something that is a guideline set up by the CPUC. So we are really following that guideline for the recertification. However, we have brought up the issue to the CPUC, and we are currently in the work on asking them to move that recertification to every 4 years for anyone who has a permanent condition like that. So there is talks going on, and we are hoping to extend that further. The other question we got was also about the medical baseline program and about renewing. A customer was asking about, how do we know if I'm supposed to renew, or if my renewal is going to go through. And I just also wanted to mention on that one, and Tom, you can add if you'd like, that you should be getting a recertification letter when it is your time to recertify. And if you have any questions about that, or you feel like it has been a while and you're curious if your medical baseline perhaps went away or is it still on my account, please feel free to call and we will look into that for you. And you can also look that up on your own account as well by logging in on the website. And Tom, if there's anything you want to add to that, feel free.
Nope, you got it. Thank you.
Okay. We did get another vegetation question, though, that I would throw your way here. And this is in regards to trees and shrubs that are touching our PG&E poles, and who is responsible for trimming those back and kind of knowing what's my, as a customer, responsibility versus PG&E's responsibility.
Great question. And this gets into some confusing terms and things when it comes to PG&E. PG&E poles versus customer-owned poles, and customer property versus the franchise or the easement areas where a lot of our utility poles are placed. So there are some rules that we have, PRC 4292 and 4293, they're public resource codes that basically guide us in how we trim back vegetation from the power lines and from our poles. And so in the high fire threat districts, we have a regulations for 8 feet around the pole needs to be cleared, as well as up to a certain height and then up in the lines as well. So there's some specific requirements that the CPUC and even the federal government has over jurisdiction where it's transmission lines, that they both set standards for us of what that needs to look like. Now, that is a PG&E distribution or transmission pole. And so those are the poles that are typically out close to the road, and they typically won't be on, technically they aren't on your property, even though there's a good chance you probably mow that grass that's up there all the time. And so, we would come through on an annual basis or semi-annual basis and clear the vegetation around those poles if there was something there. Of course, for general, landscaping and beautification, if you want to trim around our poles and trim the grass, we're more than happy for you to do that. But in terms of the requirements or any sort of city management of that, the cities typically don't have any oversight in that. And typically we manage our own sort of vegetation management program, and that compliance is done through the CPUC. We do meet annually with arborists and folks from the city, share our plans, and obtain permits to do work in areas, so they are aware of the work. But there's no real technical policing that's happening from the city. Now, there is one other circumstance, and that is you may have something called the clearance pole, and that pole, it's got your electric service on it, but it's not the pole where our distributions lines run. That is going to be the pole that takes the power from those distribution lines and gets it over to your home. So there may be a pole that's sort of sitting halfway either in your yard or close to your neighbor's yard or close to your border. That technically is a customer-owned pole. That pole is not owned by PG&E. And so in those cases, if you need to do any vegetation work around that line and you're concerned about, the high voltage that's overhead there, you can always call us. We will come out and disconnect that service at no cost. You can do the work, the tree work yourself, or have a contractor do it, and then we'll come back out and reconnect that. So I hope that answered the question, but there's a lot of different scenarios there, so I'm not exactly sure which one is which. So, and again, pg.com/trees has all those regulations I mentioned, all of our standards and our basic, operating practices there. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. And I think this can actually go for this question and another question that came in that I saw. I have another customer that's pointing out a specific area of line in their area that has, moss growing on the line, and they had questions about that, and how do we rank those in our system? I'm guessing from a safety standpoint. But I think when it comes to vegetation or like line conditions and safety, anything like that, I definitely would strongly encourage downloading the Report It app again, which is on your screen now. This is a tool that any customer can use if you have a mobile device. And you can take a picture of any situation and ask a question on, is this safe? Is this something that you guys need to come out here and do anything about? In addition, if you think it's a more urgent need and you're questioning anything, we always ask that you call those in right away, 24/7 to our main line. But yeah, just a reminder to folks, if you ever have any questions about anything on our system, whether it's vegetation or actual equipment, we want to know about it, and we want to take a look at it ourselves so we can help identify if there's any immediate risk there. So I'm just scanning through here, and I'm not seeing any new questions that I think we haven't touched on here. So I'm just gonna, while we wait and see if there's any last questions coming in, Tom, I'm just gonna ask you if you could tell our audience here if there's one key takeaway that we would like them to have from this presentation, what would you recommend that would be?
Yeah, thanks, Liz. I think the number one thing that I would encourage everyone to do is to think about their notification preferences and how we get a hold of you as PG&E. So, of course, you definitely set up your account when you moved into your home, but we've all probably, changed cell phones, potentially changed your cell phone number, more than likely changed the email address that you're monitoring and paying attention to. Maybe you had to change your cell phone number when you lost your phone and decided to change providers, et cetera. And I know that the last thing you probably think about when all those different things happen is, I need to call PG&E and let them know of that. So think about that. You can go to pg.com. You can call 1-800-PGE-5000. There's a number of different ways where you can update your contact information. We send out information on PSPS, EPSS, and all outages, text, phone, or email. You can get all three. You can get one of the three. You can opt into any combination of those things. And so I would highly encourage you to do that. And while you're in there doing that, make sure that you are designating and applying for medical baseline status or any self-identified vulnerable customer status as well, because that is going to get you a little bit of that additional checks and treatment from us in terms of if there are any public safety power shutoffs. We're going to make sure that you've received our outages all the way to a door knock or doorbell ring, as we mentioned earlier. And then also all of the great benefits of that the medical baseline allowance program has. So definitely would say, think about the last time you've talked to us and gave us all of your information so we can share with you the latest updates on important programs and any outage information. Oh, and we had somebody say that they've used the Reported app 3 times and all problems were addressed within a week. So thank you. Glad to hear that the Reported app is working for you. That's awesome. Love it.
I saw that comment too. I was like, oh, great. I'm really happy to hear that. So I scrolled through here and I think we've addressed most of the topics. I know there were some specific questions about, locations near individuals' homes, and hopefully we gave you the resources to get those specific information addressed. But again, if you feel like your question did not get answered tonight or you have additional questions, please submit those directly to us at wildfiresafety@pge.com, and we will get back to those promptly. I haven't seen anything new come in, so I'm going to wrap us up for this evening. First, thank you for taking the time to join us in this wildfire safety webinar. We do welcome your feedback and your input. If you have questions that weren't answered again, please submit those directly to us at wildfiresafety@pge.com. And thank you again for joining us. Have a safe evening.